When you think of AI, what comes to mind? Microchips, right? Supercomputers, complex code? Well, what if I told you the real story of AI doesn't start in some lab in Silicon Valley, but way, way back with Greek gods building actual robots? It's true. So today, we're going to trace that incredible journey of an idea, all the way from ancient myth to the first real machines and right into our world today.
At the heart of this whole story is one single question, a really big one. Could a machine actually think like a human? It feels so 21st century, doesn't it? But here's the crazy part. People have been wrestling with this idea for centuries, long, long before a single computer even existed. All right, so to find where this all began, we're not starting in a tech lab. Nope. Our journey kicks off thousands of years ago in a world of myths, big ideas, and just pure imagination. So get this. The very first blueprints for AI, they weren't written in code. They were told as stories. The ancient Greeks had these incredible myths about automata, basically mechanical beings or robots built to help out. It just goes to show you, this desire to create intelligent non-human helpers, it's been part of our DNA for thousands of years. And for most of history, that's all it was, a fascinating what if. You had philosophers and thinkers debating it, but it was pure theory. I mean, the technology to actually build a thinking machine, it was still centuries away. So the dream was there, but the toolbox was completely empty.
Okay, now let's hit the fast forward button and jump to the 20th century. This is where everything changes. This is the moment that philosophical dream finally starts turning into a real, formal science.
And whoa, things started moving fast. You had this explosion of huge ideas. It all kicks off with the brilliant Alan Turing, who basically gives us the theoretical model for every modern computer. Then he throws down the gauntlet with his famous Turing Test. A few years later, in 1956, a group gets together for the Dartmouth Conference, and boom, the field officially gets its name, artificial intelligence. And just a little while after that, we get ELIZA, one of the first ever chatbots, proving that, yeah, you can have a conversation with a machine. The pieces were all falling into place. And that Turing test? Its genius is just how simple it is. It basically says, forget all the complex definitions. Can you have a conversation with a machine and not know it's a machine? If it's indistinguishable from a human, it passes. That simple, powerful idea became the North Star for AI research for decades to come. So these are the guys, the pioneers who got together at Dartmouth back in '56. John McCarthy, the man who actually came up with the name artificial intelligence, was a key player. And you have to understand, their vision was so bold, so optimistic. For them, a true thinking machine wasn't a question of if, but when. And honestly, they thought when was just right around the corner.
But, well, that incredible optimism ran headfirst into a brick wall of reality. That initial buzz and excitement, it started to fade, and a period of serious doubt and real difficulty set in. You see, there was this huge gap between what they wanted to do and what they could actually do. The promise was massive, machines that could think, reason, and learn. But the reality? The computers back then were just not powerful enough. They didn't have the massive amounts of data we have today, and they quickly found out that things we find easy, like just understanding a simple sentence, were incredibly, almost impossibly hard for a machine. And that huge gap between promise and reality, it led to something called the AI winter. It's exactly what it sounds like. Funding completely dried up, research ground to a halt, and pretty much everyone lost interest. For a while there, the whole field just went into hibernation. But the dream wasn't dead, not by a long shot. In the 1980s, things started to thaw out. A whole new approach started gaining steam. See, instead of trying to hand code every single rule for intelligence, researchers started building neural networks, these amazing systems that are loosely inspired by how our own brains work. The big idea was to build a system that could learn on its own from data, instead of just following a set of pre-written instructions. This was a game changer. This was the dawn of the machine learning era. And you know what? That comeback wasn't announced to the world in some dusty research paper. Nope. It was announced on a chessboard, in front of everyone. This is the moment AI stepped out of the lab and straight into the global spotlight. Let's set the scene. The year is 1997, and the stage is set for what is still one of the most famous showdowns between a human mind and a machine ever. In one corner, we have Garry Kasparov. And listen, he wasn't just a world champion. Many people say he was the greatest chess player of all time. We're talking about the absolute peak of human strategic genius. And in the other corner, IBM's Deep Blue, a massive supercomputer built for one thing and one thing only, to play chess better than any machine in history. So after this incredibly intense 6-game match, the machine won. Think about that. For the very first time, a reigning world chess champion lost to an AI in a formal match. It was a huge deal. A seismic moment, really. And this win was about so much more than just a chess game. It was a proof of concept for the entire world to see. It showed that AI could handle problems with incredible complexity and strategy. I mean, the thinking was, if a machine can beat the best human chess player, what else could it do? That victory by Deep Blue really opened the floodgates. So let's connect the dots and see how all of that history led directly to the AI that is, well, everywhere in our lives today. Okay, if there's one year you need to remember for the start of the modern AI revolution we're living in, it's this one, 2012. So what was so special about 2012? Well, a deep learning model called AlexNet did something that just blew everyone away. It took those neural network ideas, combined them with tons of image data and some seriously powerful new computer chips, and it just crushed it at image recognition. This was the moment everyone realized deep learning wasn't just a theory, it worked in the real world at a massive scale. And that discovery kicked off the absolute boom we are still in today. So what's the legacy of all that history? Honestly, it's everywhere you look. It's the virtual assistant on your phone. It's in the systems helping doctors spot diseases earlier. It's in the robots building cars and factories. It's even the core tech behind self-driving vehicles. All of it stands on the shoulders of those early dreamers and pioneers. So let's just quickly retrace our steps. It's an amazing journey, right? This whole idea started in ancient myths. Then it got a solid mathematical foundation from geniuses like Alan Turing. It officially became a science, survived a tough winter, and then came roaring back to life with neural networks. And all of that led us right here, to the deep learning era that is shaping our world. So we've seen AI go from this fantastical dream to a powerful tool we use every single day. The whole story has really been about human imagination pushing the boundaries of what's possible. And that leaves us with the biggest question of all, doesn't it? Now that these machines can learn, see, and think strategically, what's the next chapter? What will we ask them to do next?